June 2012, my father dies, and he died of cancer, lymphoma. He was taken to India. He stayed there for about a year. They brought him back after all the treatment, chemo, all the things they do, and then normally. And I was preaching. I was on top of the pulpit when they gave me the message that he has passed on. The way I cried that day, I loved that man. If he was in my power, he would never die at all. September of that same year, 2012, we went to bury him. His burial was on Friday. So we're in the funeral, and I was wearing, and a pastor started calling me from nowhere. I didn't take his call. He was calling me. Later I looked. He was saying some things about accident. One of the pastors in his church had an accident, a ghastly motor accident. If you see the vehicle, you know that no human being came out of it. The vehicle went under a trailer and was crushed. It was a bus. Okay, please put up that picture. Let everybody see it. Put it up. This is the vehicle. And that young man was sitting up and he died. And they carried them to hospital and all of those things. I like when you are dead and you are dead. If you're telling me about the other side, I will listen. Now, this is Friday. So later in the night, I called him back after we had finished the burial. He was telling me about this accident. The reason he was calling me is to pray and raise the boy from the dead. I said, this pastor self. I encourage him. So that is the whole Friday. This burial was in the morning. This accident, the whole Friday went. But the women, the people in the church refused to bury the guy. Though he have taken them to hospital, but they refused. So they prayed the whole Friday. He didn't wake up. They prayed the whole Saturday. He didn't wake up. Many people did not go home to take their baths. Then Sunday service came. They prayed and they took the same clothes, stayed there praying, followed the service. 2 services ended. Other people went home. These people stayed there, prayed till Sunday evening. He didn't come back. So I took the phone to tell him, just bury the guy. You have tried. Something just held me back. I left him. 1 a.m. in the night. That is not early hours on Monday. The guy woke up. Yeah. He calls me in the morning that he has woken up. I called our media team. I told them, fly to Owerri immediately. Go and record, find out what he saw from the other side. He's been dead for 3 days. And they went. He wasn't talking. They waited till he was able to say. They said, and people were wondering, why are you people disturbing this? I gave them instruction. Collect the information. I want video evidence. I want printed evidence. I want whatever. And they recorded. I told you, the way my mind works. If you're trained in science, you like evidence. I don't like stories. To my shock, he survived. Because Jesus reappeared a second time. And this time he came with angels. They came and did things. Brought surgeons. They came and did cutting, remove bones, fix bones, put whatever. When they finished, and there were people there when this thing was happening, and his body was fine. You know, it's like if you are sick now and there are damaged organs or broken bones. Don't let such things. If you heard the message this morning about the glorified Christ, just a look from him fixes your bone. Please, let's welcome my first evidence, Pastor Victor. Please, where are you? From where? Give him a mic. This is a young man that died in that motor accident. He is from Akwa Ibom State.
Good evening, church.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, then you go ahead and look at how he used to look. Everyone say 2012. Thank you, sir, for being here. Where were you going before that accident happened? Tell us that part.
I was traveling to Akwa Ibom State.
From where?
From Owerri. I'm based in Owerri. So my pastor has approved my traveling. And as I got to a junction where we enter to Aba, because it's about 2 drops, I entered the vehicle that will be taking me down to Aba. When we got to Aba at the main park, which a lot of us will know, I entered the bus that you people saw the picture and sat at the front seat of the vehicle, waiting for the bus to get filled. But I keep hearing a voice telling me, stand up, go to the last row and sit down. I refused because I know how to drive. I love sitting at the front seat of vehicles just to see what the driver is doing. The voice keep persuading. I refused. I would look around. I wouldn't see anybody. It wasn't spiritual. It was loud. And the next thing, I felt the hand of somebody on my right hand arm draw me out of the bus, and I fell down with my back. And there was this fair lady seated by my left side. So when I stood up from the ground, people started laughing at the fact that I'm on highness and all that. But I turned around.
You were on drugs or alcohol?
Yes, sir. And I turned around and looked at the lady that was seated by my left-hand side. The next thing that dropped in my mind, she has a spiritual husband. And the spiritual husband doesn't want me to sit close to her.
Okay, you thought it was spiritual husband?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I never knew that God was just trying to preserve this body from more damage than it was. So I carried my bag, went to the last road that the voice told me to sit, the driver's line, and sat down. Immediately I sat there, there was no voice again, there was complete peace. And the journey, after some time, the bus got filled. We started our journey very well, heading to Akwa Ibom State. And most of us that travel with Hummer bus, we know how they drive. The guy was on a very top speed. People were complaining, me, I did not complain. All I wanted to do is get home early. So I fixed my earpiece and started playing game with my phone.
You were playing game with the phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
People were busy shouting at him. Oh, me, I did not say a word. So even the person that sat by my side, I said, you people should just leave the guy. Maybe we get home early. Because it was getting late. When we got to a place called Odorikot, at a crossroad, with that speed the guy was, a trailer that do carry cement, but had finished uploading, wheeled from the right side into the road, and our driver saw it with shock, tried to hold the brake of the bus, only to realize automatic brake failure. The brake wasn't working again. So somehow he was able to dodge to the other side of the road, only for us to encounter an oncoming truck again, filled with cement, on a top speed descending towards us. And you cannot go to the left hand side again because there is a deep pit that if he falls in, nothing will come out there. So it was a situation whereby whatever you believe, you call on that person that moment. Some people call on Jesus, other people call the name of their parent, but me, a pastor, I couldn't even open my mouth to call on God. I was just looking at the whole incident. I don't know whether to call it shock, but the next thing is that I heard the sound, boom, and that was it. The next thing is I found myself standing outside the bus. How I came out of the bus, I don't know. Who brought me out of the bus, I can't tell. I was worshiping God, thanking God for saving my life from a fatal accident like this. Because I look at it, the bus was under this truck, this trailer, and the trailer climbed it and crushed it down. That is when I knew why the voice told me to stand up and go to the last row and sit down. Because the driver and the two passengers in front, they couldn't remove their head or any part. Everything crushed them that the brain popped out and was scattered like meat everywhere. They were using shovel and other iron to remove human parts, stock it up in a sack bag. So how do those people even be presented to the family to tell them your loved one is dead? The greatest blessing is the blessing of life, that when you go out there and come back, you give God praise. You don't know what God has done for you, because it's not by our carefulness.
Okay, you were outside thanking God for saving you.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
As I was thanking God, worshiping God, suddenly people that were traveling in the bus with me were at the crossroad, crying and weeping bitterly.
Now, he was on one side of the road. He saw other people that were inside the bus on the other side of the road crying. Yes.
So I said to myself, okay, let me go and talk to them and encourage them. So I crossed the road down to where they were. I started talking to them. I said, you people should not cry. What you should do is to join me to thank God for saving our lives from a fatal accident. If we were dead, you wouldn't be here crying. But instead of them to listen, it was as if what I said did not make sense. And at this point, it was still getting dark. And I will explain why nothing changed at that moment. So I just said to myself, okay, all of you know where you came from. When you finish crying, you will pack your things and go home. Me, I'm going home. It's getting late. As I was crossing the road back to the accident scene where I would get my bag, a Camry car passed through me. I only felt it like air, but did not knock me down, not even a scratch. And the next thing I said, I had an accident. I did not have any injury. And now a car just passed through me. I only felt it like air. Nothing happened to me. That means the scripture that says, I shall pass through the fire. The fire shall not burn me, has just been a reality in my life. I never knew.
Everybody come there, you need to hear gist. I'm sure you are learning about the inward man, the spirit man, and the outward man. Okay, continue, sir.
I never knew that something has happened to my body. So when I crossed the road, a lot of people feel the accident scene and wanted to see how to pull the bus out from that truck so that they can get people out. But then I did not know. So as a young man, I said, let me go and help them. When I went to the place and stood, stretched out my hand to touch the bus, my hand was going through the metal body of the bus, but couldn't touch it. And the painful part is where I was standing, another person came and stood the same place. I was the one feeling uncomfortable, as if they brought two magnets together. It was going front and back, but couldn't stand still. I had to walk away. And I was trying to comprehend what has happened. I touched my pocket. I couldn't find my phone. I couldn't find my wallet. So I needed to look for these things. So I turned around to where I sat down. Immediately I put in my head. At this point, they put up the bonnet of that bus, because it was crushed down, I saw somebody that looks like me. The same pattern of hair, the same clothes I'm wearing, the guy is wearing it. My bag that I'm looking for is on top of the guy's lap. The only difference, I wasn't wearing shoe, only clothes. But that guy is wearing my shoe. My earpiece is the one with it. The only difference is that that guy is in pool of blood. Blood was coming out of the nose, the mouth, the ear, and the hand was twisted, broken. The same people I crossed the road to talk to at the other side are still the same people inside the bus. So I can't remember having a twin brother on earth. How come somebody's looking like me? Does it mean I'm dead? But to cut it short, I finally realized that I'm dead. So me was standing looking at me that is lifeless. Looking for how to help me that is lifeless to come back for us to join together. But there was that separation that I couldn't help. As we were there crying, I now understood why they were crying before me. They already realized that we've crossed over. And immediately I knew that I'm dead. Everything changed. There was nothing like night. There was nothing like day. There was nothing like sun. There was nothing like moon. Everything was just like that. And I joined them to cry even more than they were doing. It was as if we are competing who is going to cry the most. But then what we needed was God's intervention. At that point, I said to myself, we are only two in the family. And I'm the eldest. How are my parents going to survive it? They can't take this news.
And he was traveling to go and see his parents.
I said, God, I can't die. I am too young to die. But brethren, nobody's too young to die. Nobody's too old to die. Everybody's qualified to die. But are you dead in Christ? So suddenly, when that thing was happening, I had a siren blowing. And I looked. It was an ambulance. When they got to the accident scene, the first person they brought out of the bus was my body. They dragged me out. That even the broken glass was cutting some part. And I was telling the person dragging me to be careful. The person wasn't hearing me. He wasn't seeing me. He never noticed me. They led me in the ambulance. I looked at the address of the hospital. It did not take me a second. In less than I don't know how to calculate that speed. I was in the hospital waiting. Now from where the accident took place down to the hospital is 45 minutes drive. I was now in the hospital waiting for them to arrive with my body. When they arrived, they brought me out, led me on a roller, were pushing me, and me was following me, looking at me that is lifeless, looking for help. They pushed me into the emergency where people were everywhere, but nobody saw me. They were seeing that one lying there. So immediately I started begging the nurses, whatever you can do, I don't want to die. They were not hearing me. They were not seeing me. Immediately the doctor came to check. The next thing is that they started sharpening something and putting it on my chest 3 times. It wasn't working. And he said, he's dead. See how you can get across and get him to the mortuary. I shouted at him, but he wasn't hearing me. I rushed to hold the doctor because he was walking away from my own bed. But immediately I made that move. I was in front of him. He was behind me. I turned around to hold him on his chest. He walked past my body and I turned around. I couldn't help. I started saying, what is this? I screamed in that hospital, shouted, but all these people were not seeing me. As I was screaming and shouting, an elderly man walked up to me and said, why are you disturbing the peace of this environment? I said, can you hear me? He said, yes. Can you see me? He said, yes. I said, then why is everybody making me feel as if I'm dead? He said, the reason I can see you is because I'm dead. You are dead. Come, let's follow your body. Let's know where they are taking you to, where it is. I now understood that over there, nobody's interested in what you feel. Because once you cross over, it's all about you and your maker. All these, I want to die. Death is the most loneliest and painful thing you can ever think, except you die in Christ. So when we got to the place, they brought me down from the roller in the mortuary, kept me, tore off my clothes where I was lying down, used APCs to cover me because they were still keeping me outside. And the mortuary had 2 sections. And the man said, okay, this is where they are keeping you to. So let's move. I followed him. We went. There was a bench in that hospital where we sat down. And as we sat down, we were discussing. He was telling me some things, how long he has been in the mortuary, what happened that he has not been buried, that he has not rested yet. A lot of things that wasn't really making sense at that point. I told him, okay, let me go home and see if I can inform my people. He was now sending me a message to his own people. I said, but you said I'm dead. He said, this is how we do here. So that if you are lucky to wake up again, you can go and deliver the message for me. So I left him. Or while we were still talking, some people that came to visit their own patient came and just saw an empty bench, not knowing that 2 ghosts are sitting there. They just sat on top of us. We were now the one that stood up for them. When we stood up, I left the hospital down to the house. So I got to the house, walked through the gate, walked through the iron door of the house. Nothing could shield me anymore. My dad was eating a goosey soup. I can still remember very well. Wearing a white singlet, a sky blue short knicker at the dining table. So I greeted him, Daddy, good evening, sir. Because when I left, it was evening. My dad did not hear me, did not see me, never knew that I'm around, but he was expecting me. I greeted him again. He did not say a word. So I got angry. I wanted to put my hand in the soup, push something, create a scene just to get his attention, but I couldn't. And my mom just finished serving my dad food, came out of the kitchen. Immediately she came out, I saw her and I said, Mommy. I raised my hand to hug my mom. My mom walked into my body. The next thing she screamed, Jesus. So my
Many
dad,
a time women are more